Imagine it is 3 o'clock in the morning. You are sitting in a dark room, illuminated only by the amber glow of an old shortwave radio. You turn the dial slowly, cutting through the static, searching for a signal. You hear music from a distant country. You hear the chatter of ham radio operators. You hear the hiss of cosmic noise. And then you find it. A frequency that shouldn't exist. First, you hear a melody. Maybe it is a cheerful English folk tune like the Lincolnshire Poacher. Maybe it is a terrifying, distorted version of a nursery rhyme that sounds like an ice cream truck from hell. Or maybe it is just a monotonous, rhythmic buzzing sound that never stops. The music plays for a minute, then the music cuts out. A voice emerges from the static. It is a woman's voice. Cold, synthetic, emotionless. She begins to speak 39015. She repeats the numbers over and over again, groups of 5 digits. For 10 minutes, she reads these random numbers into the void, and then she says one final word: end. The music returns, or the frequency goes dead. You have just tuned into a numbers station. For over 70 years, these ghostly broadcasts have occupied the airwaves. They are heard all over the world. They are not listed in any radio guide. No government officially admits they exist, but they are there. And they are the primary way that intelligence agencies communicate with their deepest undercover agents. Welcome to the Shadow Dossier. Today we tune into the frequency of the unknown. To understand why these stations exist, we have to look at the technology of espionage. We live in the age of the internet. We have encrypted messaging apps, satellite phones, and the dark web. So why, in the 21st century, would the world's most advanced intelligence agencies, the CIA, MI6, the Mossad, the SVR, use radio technology from World War II? The answer is simple. The internet leaves a footprint. Every email you send, every file you download, leaves a digital trail. It goes through servers, it can be intercepted, it can be traced back to an IP address. If a spy in Washington checks a secure website to get orders from Moscow, the FBI can see that connection. The internet is a two-way street, but radio is different. Shortwave radio is a one-way street. When a numbers station broadcasts a signal, it bounces that signal off the ionosphere, a layer of the atmosphere, allowing it to travel thousands of miles around the curvature of the Earth. A transmitter in Russia can send a signal that can be heard clearly in the United States, Brazil, or Australia. Here is the genius of the system. Anyone can buy a shortwave radio for $20 at an electronics store. If you are a spy, you don't need special equipment. You just sit in your apartment, turn on the radio, and listen. The FBI might know the broadcast is happening. They might know the signal is coming from Russia. But they have absolutely no way of knowing who is listening to it. The signal floods an entire continent. The spy is just one of millions of people who could be listening. It is the ultimate form of anonymous communication. It is untraceable. But hearing the numbers is only half the battle. If you and I listen to the broadcast, we just hear random gibberish. 5, 2, 7, 1. It means nothing. But to the agent, it means everything. And this brings us to the most important tool in the history of spycraft, the one-time pad. The one-time pad is the holy grail of cryptography. It is the only encryption method that is mathematically unbreakable. Here is how it works. The agent and the handler both have identical pads of paper. On each page is a list of random numbers. This is the key. The key is generated completely randomly. It is used only once, hence the name one-time pad, and then it is destroyed. When the agent hears the numbers on the radio, he writes them down. Let's say the broadcast says 55555. The agent looks at his pad. The top sheet has a random modifier, say -2. He subtracts 2 from 5 and gets 3. He does this for every number. The result translates into letters. Attack at dawn, or flee the country. Without that specific sheet of paper, the broadcast is mathematically impossible to crack. Even if the NSA uses its most powerful supercomputers, they cannot break the code because the numbers are truly random. There is no pattern to find. The only way to catch the spy is to catch him with the pad in his hand. Let's look at some of the most famous and terrifying stations in history. The most legendary station is known as UVB-76, or the buzzer. If you buy a shortwave radio today and tune it to frequency 4625 kHz, you will hear it. It is a monotonous, rhythmic buzzing sound. Buzzed, buzzed, buzzed. It broadcasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It has been broadcasting since the height of the Cold War, somewhere around 1973. For decades, it just buzzed. But every once in a while, the buzzing stops. A live human voice, usually a Russian man, cuts in. He shouts a series of names and numbers. Bromol 74, 27, 99, 14. Then the buzzing returns. The transmitter is located in Russia. For years it was near a village called Povarovo, hidden in the woods. Urban explorers who visited the site after it was abandoned found a logbook of the messages. The station is now believed to be operating near St. Petersburg. Theories about the buzzer are terrifying. Some believe it is the dead hand system. The theory is that if Russia is hit by a nuclear strike, the buzzing will stop. The silence will trigger an automated system that launches Russia's entire nuclear arsenal at the United States. A doomsday switch. More likely, however, it is a military communication channel for the Western Military District of Russia. The constant buzzing is a channel marker, keeping the frequency occupied so nobody else can use it. When the voice speaks, it is sending orders to military units or spies. Since the invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the activity on the buzzer has increased dramatically. The ghost is waking up. Then there was the Lincolnshire Poacher. This station was believed to be run by MI6, British intelligence. It broadcast from the island of Cyprus. It started with a jolly synthesized tune from an English folk song. Da 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 da. It sounded innocent, but it was followed by a chilling female voice reading groups of 5 numbers. This station was huge during the Cold War. It was aimed at British spies operating in the Middle East and Africa. It went off the air in 2008. Why? Because the technology changed. But for 30 years, that creepy tune was the soundtrack of British espionage. Another famous one is the Swedish Rhapsody. This was likely operated by Polish intelligence or the East German Stasi. It used a music box version of Swedish Rhapsody No. 1. It sounded like a child's toy, like an ice cream truck driving through a graveyard. The voice that followed was a distorted little girl's voice, reading numbers in German. Achtung. 5.wo. It is widely considered the creepiest numbers station ever recorded. Imagine being a spy in a cold attic in West Berlin, waiting for orders, and hearing that child's voice telling you who to kill next. But are these just relics of the past? Absolutely not. In 2001, the FBI arrested Ana Montes. She was a senior analyst at the Defense Intelligence Agency. She was known as the Queen of Cuba. For 17 years, she spied for Fidel Castro. She was one of the most damaging spies in U.S. history. How did she get her orders? Did she use email? No. Did she use dead drops? Rarely. Every week she sat in her apartment in Washington, D.C., tuned her Sony shortwave radio to frequency 7887 kHz, and listened to a woman's voice reading numbers in Spanish. Atención, 5, 8. She would write them down on water-soluble paper. She would decrypt the orders using a program on her laptop, which functioned as her one-time pad. Then, she would memorize the orders and dissolve the paper in her toilet. When the FBI raided her apartment, they found the radio. They found the cheat sheets. It was undeniable proof. The number stations were not myths. They were the umbilical cord connecting her to Havana. More recently, in 2010, the FBI broke up the Illegals program. This was a ring of deep-cover Russian sleeper agents living in the American suburbs. Anna Chapman, the famous red-headed spy, was part of this group. While they used modern steganography, hiding digital messages inside pictures on public websites, they also had radios. They had schedules for radiograms. The Russians were still using the old ways because the old ways work. Today, if you tune your radio to the right frequency, you can still hear them. North Korea operates vivid numbers stations. They start with patriotic, bombastic orchestral music. Then a voice reads out numbers for the spies infiltrating South Korea. It is happening right now. There is something deeply unsettling about listening to these broadcasts. You are hearing a secret that is not meant for you. You are intercepting a message that might change history. That string of numbers you just heard. It might be an order to assassinate a political leader. It might be the coordinates for a weapons drop. It might be the signal to flee, or it might be nothing. Intelligence agencies often broadcast dummy messages, random numbers that mean nothing, just to keep the counterintelligence teams busy. They fill the airwaves with noise so that the real message is hidden in a sea of gibberish. The world of number stations is a world of shadows. It is a reminder that even in our digital age, the most dangerous secrets travel on analog waves. The static of the radio is not empty. It is full of ghosts, and they are talking to each other. So, the next time you are driving late at night, and your radio picks up a strange static, don't change the channel, listen closely. You might just hear the voice of the shadow world. This concludes the file on number stations. We have explored the silent guns, the traitors, and the ghostly radios. But sometimes, the most shocking plans are the ones that were written down, approved by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and then locked away because they were too insane to execute. Next time, we open a file that proves the US government was willing to kill its own citizens to start a war. We are going back to 1962. We are going back to the time the Pentagon planned to blow up American airliners and blame it on Cuba. Next file, Operation Northwoods.